It's time for Thought Shifting Thursdays. Here with
Hello.
Karina, my beloved, and myself, Patrick. And we're live. So, what are we talking about today? So, let's see, what was the title I put? The title is How do you not let the problems of the world bog you down, right? A lot going on, as it says in the description. We've got election coming up here. You were watching a clip from Oprah today that was saying, which kind of inspired this for me, is, we've got an election coming up and democracy is in question, right? Um, Climate change is just wreaking havoc on our world in so many different ways. We've got, you know,
Brazil, China.
we've got concern about the possibility of nuclear war, which hasn't really been a big
Yes.
concern for many, many years, decades. So how do you deal with all this? How do you move forward and have a positive life just with all this going on?
Well, as we were talking a couple times, a couple weeks now, is I've been dealing with the anxiety of not only the world, but also the economy,
Oh
right?
yeah, let's not forget the economy.
And so I've been anxious and I've been upset. And so what I decided to do was to come up with a way to be grateful and to look at my life one day at a time and to focus on that one thing that I'm thankful for that day. And so I started a 30-day challenge um, for myself, and then I'm putting it on my social media, um, and that has refocused my attention from the bad stuff that's going on out there to just focusing on that one thing that I'm thankful for.
Focusing on what's in front of you.
Yes.
When I took Stuart Wild's training, Warriors Wisdom training in Taos, New Mexico, back in the early '90s, that's what he said, and I've talked about this in some of my lectures. That if you look at a picture of someone who's concerned about the problems in the world, right? The economy, the war, the whatever. There's a line of energy going to each one of those concerns.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Right. And it's actually draining us of two things are happening. We're putting negative energy into what we don't want. And two, we're draining our power because our power is going out with every one of those worries.
Right.
But the person who has personal power is focused on what's in front of them right here and right now. And
Yes.
so, one of the things he said is, don't be concerned about famines in some other part of the world, but if somebody in front of you is hungry, give them a sandwich, right?
Right.
And that's something that you can do. And to be grateful for what we have, obviously, just takes it to a higher vibration,
Well,
higher
you
level.
can't be in the muck if you're grateful, you know.
Good point.
Yeah. How do you do it?
Um, well, number one, this might be more metaphysical than everyone will resonate with, but is that, part of my book, The Magic of the Soul, is looking for the magic in every experience, knowing that there's always something good that comes out of every tragedy. And so rather than seeing that in retrospect, looking back, look for the magic in the moment. Like, what is the possibility? It's kind of interesting. For people who are liberals, which I'm not going to say if we are or not, I guess you know already. But, it was devastating for so many people that the Supreme Court had overturned Roe versus Wade. And but now we've seen an increase in women voters, first-time women voters, right? And so we don't know what the election's going to do, which is tomorrow, right? Um,
No,
when is it? What's today? Oh no, it's next week.
next week.
Yeah. So, but and so, it's been going back and forth according to the polls whether it'll be a blue win or a red win, right? But if ends up being a blue win, then that will be because of that horrible experience, right?
Yes.
That people were devastated by. Or if it's not a blue win, and it's a red win for the people that are blue, whatever comes out of that. I was talking with a client today and saying, I think most people, the large percentage of people, are focused on what they don't want and unhappy in their lives, and so, it goes inside. Everything goes in cycles,
Yes.
and so when the liberals are in or Democrats are in, and people are unhappy with their lives, then
It shifts to the
it'll
other
go to
side.
the Republicans. And then people are still unhappy with their lives, so that didn't work. So let's switch. And the problem isn't whether it's Democrats or Republicans, it's how do we
Yeah.
feel inside, right? It's
Mhm.
how do we make a difference? So
That's right.
what else do you want to say about this?
With your topic today, I decided to go ahead and check out um, good news
Good news.
on a Google search, and there's a lot of sites that actually only have good news.
I told you so.
So
So,
so stop watching the news.
and that's, news. And the problem isn't with the news. Again, it's the problem with people. Is people watch. It's all about ratings, right? So people are tuning into the stuff that is horrible, and it's exaggerated by news media, right? Because that's what sells.
Right.
And so, you have to search to find these positive news places. So, you came up with some
Yeah, you
positive news stories.
it is.
Good News Network.
Which only speaks of good stuff, I mean, we all love the reels that come up with the dogs and the puppies and the this. Watch more of that.
Yeah.
Read, write, you know.
And there's a lot of people I know who don't watch the news. We don't watch the news. I mean, the thing with social media now is we'll get all the information about what's going on without even watching the news, right? But
I do watch the news.
do you?
I do. I watch one program.
Ah.
It's the PBS NewsHour,
Mhm.
1 hour,
Mhm.
and I feel like I'm getting everything in that time slot.
Yeah. So I know many people who purposely don't watch the news
At
because
all.
it just affects them in such
Yeah,
a negative
I
way.
might have to.
So I like to be informed as well.
Right, exactly.
And yet, Michael Beckwith says that the headlines are all prayer requests, right? So when I see something negative in the world, what's the positivity that I want to put on that or frame it, or what's the good that can come out of this? As I said, everything goes in cycles, right? So the stock market's down, guess what? It's going to go back up. And then it's going to go down again, and it's going to up on a spiral. It's an upward spiral, right? I mean, evolution. Things, here's something that I say sometimes when people are having a hard time personally. That if everything was perfect all the time, if we didn't have highs and lows, we would plateau, and we would never grow. The growth cycle comes from, if you look at it this way, right? So we're having a good time. Things are going well, right? So it's an upside of the spiral of the cycle, and then things turn around, and we're having challenges in life. But the way it works is that because it's moving, it's constantly going up higher and higher, so that now our lows are higher than our highs were back here, right?
Yeah.
And that wouldn't happen if everything was perfect all the time. So we can actually bless and appreciate the low times. Client said the other day, we can't know happiness unless we know unhappiness, right?
That is true.
So it's all good all the time. Now, if you don't want to ascribe to the fact that there's, well, I guess the more metaphysical description of it is that our souls, I believe, are creating everything that's happening for us all the time. So, you know, I hurt my knee a few weeks ago, right? And so what is that, what is there for me in that? Number one, I've got
Please.
lots of time to focus on other things because I'm not out playing tennis right now. Number two, I can be thankful, as you're talking about, that I have a leg and that it's healing. 2 weeks ago, I couldn't step on it, couldn't put
Right.
any weight on it. A week ago, I was on a cane. Today's the first day I'm walking around the house without a cane. I'm just in such joy and gratitude
Appreciating your
for,
leg.
for the healing process. It's so amazing what the body can do.
Yes.
Went to PT yesterday, but most of this progress has been made just with the body doing what it knows how to do, right?
Yes.
But if you don't ascribe to that everything is for us all the time, we can all agree that something good can come out of every challenge, right? And so look for that good. What is that good? And now, the question that I put to people in my book is, in what's the magic that can come out of this? Or the way I phrase it now is, what's the greater freedom, joy, love, any spiritual quality that wants to emerge from this challenging situation, whether it be personal, global, or something in between? And so by asking the question, oftentimes we'll get an answer, but even if we don't get an answer, the important thing is asking the question, because no longer am I a victim of this situation. Now I'm using the situation to help me to grow, right?
Yes. Beautifully said.
Yeah. So I just can't be next to you without seeing it. So, what else do we want to say about this? I thought what you're going to do is actually come up with some of the positive news that are
All
on these
positive
networks.
news. I see. Well, there's a lot of them. People that are healing, people that are giving, people that are finding ways to give of their time and their money, and all these
Glad
people
you brought
sharing
that out.
and all that. Yeah.
That's something I really wanted to focus on. Is what can I do? What is mine to do?
Right.
That will make a difference in some of these things. And I had a client the other day who's an extreme introvert and said, I'm not an activist. I'm never going to be an activist, but I can, hold the presence for the truth, for people, for the world, right? So whether it's a small thing or a large thing that you're doing to make a difference in all of the problems of the world, or just by making a difference with the people that you know.
Right.
There's an interesting exercise we did in my transpersonal psychology training years ago, is you write down 5 things or a list of things that in the world that you think should change. We should feed the hungry. We should, hi Naomi. We should feed the hungry. We should end war. We should
Take care
give
of
me another
Mother
one.
Earth,
Right, and
the
so
climate. Yes.
so you put those things in a column, and then in the next column you put down, what can I do within myself that ends poverty within myself, right? That ends war within myself, my own inner dialogue that's arguing all the time.
Right.
How can I bring love to those voices in myself? How can I bring love to my own relationships? I had somebody the other day who was talking about, some kind of conflict. If I can't solve this conflict in my life, how can I expect the world, with all the multiplicity of people and agendas,
Right.
to have peace, right? So the message of that is it starts one person at a time, right?
Right. Really. We can't change anybody else,
Right.
right? We're trying to. This is what we're doing
Mm-hmm.
to make it better for us and for other people.
And
What
so,
can you do?
yeah, and so ours to do is to hold our ceremonies, to teach classes, to do life coaching, and those are the things that we're called to do, right? So, we'll go on if there's a a march. We'll go on a march every now and then, right?
Right.
But we're not out there trying to change things in a global way, because what is ours to do is to do it one person at a time, one group at a time. Our Catalina retreats, people come away from those. By the way, we've set the dates for next year. We've got, and we're already, it's what, 10 months away. We've got 2 spots left. We've already got 23 people signed up.
Yay, Naomi!
And Naomi's one of them. But people come away from this so transformed, right? And that's what excites us. You know, you want to do the thing that is yours to do, that excites you. And Naomi is sprinkling kindness wherever she can,
Oh,
wherever
that's
she
great.
goes.
That's good.
And I know that that's true about you. So I think that's it for today. That's the message.
That is the message.
Um,
Sprinkle some of it
yeah.
everywhere.
And yay, Catalina, Naomi says. And, you know, the thing that I emphasize more than anything else is just be in joy, you know? Can you be in joy when things are falling apart around you? If you can, then you're being a model for how other people can do it as well. And that, I tell you, just like the opposite of a virus that spreads spreads around the whole world, so does joy, so does love, so does all the qualities that we most want to live by. And the more we live by them, the more we influence those around us to do the same. So that's the message for today. If you enjoyed this, give us a like, give us some comments, share with someone that you think could benefit from this. And we'll see you next week.
Take care.
All right. Have a great weekend.